It's good to see you, Legs.
It's good to see you. Do you want to jump right in?
If everything's recording okay.
Yeah, everything's recording and it's doing good. You know, I go to the Morgan Library a lot. Do you go there?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love them.
Those gilded Bibles.
Well, those were my biggest influence, were the illuminated manuscripts.
Did you grow up in a very highly religious family?
Irish Catholic, the religion of worshiping a guy that's nailed to a cross and stabbed in the side.
Yeah.
The Protestants disdain all that blood and gore. The Latin and the Italian Catholicism love that.
Yeah.
That's their meat. That's what gives it, its power. I'm not sure that I believe in God. I'm not saying I don't. But one of the things that it taught me was a great sense of drama and faith, too. There's an enormous amount of faith in the kind of painting that I do, because I don't even do any sketching. And I barely move my hand. I'm resting a one-hair brush on one finger and just caressing the strokes in slowly, like Hans Holbein and like many of the Flemish primitives. Those were the things that inspired me the most.
Did you get into the lives of the saints too? Did you read about the saints?
Yeah. In fact, I did a book on the life of Jesus, but according to the anti-Christian accounts, like the Roman philosopher Celsus, they came up with the idea that the whole Immaculate Conception claim was really to cover up the adulterous affair that Mary had had with a Roman soldier, a Roman archer named Pantera.
Wow.
So it's all in my book. It's called The Man of Sorrows. The first art book that I ever had was a book on Hieronymus Bosch that was given to me by my mother when she saw me drawing the Stations of the Cross. When I drew the Stations of the Cross, it was because I was sitting in church and I was really bored, and I was 5, 6 years old. And my mother gave me a sketch pad and a pencil and some crayons. And I was looking around the church, St. Mary's Church, and I saw the Stations of the Cross done in relief. They're coming out slightly. It had them playing dice for the robes and like all the tortures and the crowning of thorns. And I'm looking at the crucifixion at the altar. So that's what I chose to draw. And so I drew them in a really crude fashion as a child. And I only used one crayon. And that one crayon was the red crayon for blood. And so the book that she thought that I should have after seeing these children's drawings was a book on Hieronymus Bosch that had tip-in plates, because the early art books, the reproduction was often done separately, more expensively, and then tipped into a more cheaply bound book. And so I decided to do that book, the Man of Sorrows book, like that Hieronymus Bosch book that I had as a child. So all of the color plates are tipped in, but they're tipped in weird shapes. And I made a puzzle that goes along with the book, where if you take all the little pieces of the puzzle, the little tip-ins can make the complete painting of the Man of Sorrows that the whole book is about. In the limited edition, there were a lock of my hair and my blood in reliquaries. That was my way, though, of trying to figure out Jesus. I wanted to find out all the different sides and the perspectives on what and who and if Jesus was. And he said to look inside yourself, and so I looked inside myself, and he's inside of you. So if you want to find him, you have to look inside.
How did you start? I mean, what was your first gigs?
Cab driver in New York City back in the Travis Bickle era. That was the only job that I really, made any money at before. Back when you could actually make money driving a cab. Back then I could make like $100 a night, and the flat I was in the Lower East Side only cost me $200. So, on a couple of good nights, I could make my rent and then spend the rest of the time painting. And a lot of the stuff that I saw in my cab, inspired the paintings that I was doing.
What did you see? That begs the question. What did you see in your cab?
It was way worse than anything that Travis Bickle.
Yeah. I saw Scorsese shooting Taxi Driver. Yeah. On 14th Street, and then he was up the block a little at that movie theater where Jodie Foster hung out.
Yeah. I used to go there all the time. That was a wild place.
What was it? What the Variety? Was it the Variety photo place?
Yeah.
On 13th Street, right?
Right near there. And
yeah. 12th or 13th.
They not only showed porno, but they showed like great exploitation movies.
They would play porno and then Jimmy Does Berkeley, Jimmy, on the same bill,
Miss those days. New York was such an amazing place to live. I mean, I feel sorry for people that didn't get to experience that.
Didn't get to walk over the bodies at the methadone clinics.
Yeah. To me, any great city, should have a vibrant, intense red light district. There's something that makes it a city. It's sad that that's kind of disappearing. The choice of making a red light district was knowing that was a part of humanity, and to give it space. It's not that it can just be crushed out and eradicated just from will. It just like splinters out, and
your paintings kind of remind me of the early 70s, mid 70s Times Square, because they're so busy, as Times Square was so busy.
Yeah. I love the theaters in Times Square, those beautiful, huge balconies.
Yeah.
That were showing porno and exploitation, but in these beautiful theaters.
What was your favorite exploitation movie on Times Square?
I had, a certain great affection for Herschell Gordon Lewis.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to witness some scenes from the next attraction to play this theater. This picture, truly one of the most unusual ever filmed, contains scenes which under no circumstances should be viewed by anyone with a heart condition or anyone who is easily upset.
We became friends later when he moved to Florida.
I was good friends with his partner, Dave Friedman.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
But yeah, and I loved Blood Feast and 2000 Maniacs.
Yeah.
When we were over to his place in Florida, he played the title sequence, that's done in, with banjos and stuff.
You're all invited to a centennial celebration. What they were celebrating wasn't important, and it sounded like a heap of fun until 2,000 maniacs, crazed for carnage, started bathing an entire town in pulsing human blood.
He played that on the piano for us. It was amazing.
Oh, the South's gonna rise again.
How did you make the transformation to stopping driving the cab and becoming a member of Steel Tips? Were you painting the whole time you were in Steel Tips too?
Yeah, I was painting the whole time. I mean, because I was painting since childhood, a painting of Lady Bird Johnson, but my third grade teacher thought was great, and she put it in this children's art exhibit. And if you remember, when Lyndon Baines Johnson was in office, Lady Bird was doing this anti-litter campaign. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
So she was traveling around the country, you know, with campaign, and she saw this little show of children's art. And she saw my, she thought
So what happened?
she bought it for her children's art collection, and I still have the newspaper clipping about it, and I put it in my first book that Adam Parfrey and Fantagraphics published. So it's, I think, on the first or second page of that book, the little newspaper clipping.
We just printed a picture of you and Adam. We had one of the women at Farrell House do an article about Adam Parfrey.
Yeah, he was a dear friend of mine.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the painting I did of Adam Parfrey. Just, you know, loving portrait of him. I guess that's what I'm doing in my old age. Is just trying to remember the people that meant a lot to me.
Papa, ooh, now, now, papa, ooh, now, now, papa, ooh,